continued on teaching techniques. We're on page 89 in your course packet, the final ones, where it starts with redirecting. This last list here, redirecting, again, is if a client is maybe doing behaviors to sabotage your session. So redirecting is as simple as just restating what you need them to do in maybe a more delightful way or in a more appealing way. So if I've got a child and they're putting their finger or they're going to the electrical outlet, instead I say, hey Joe, I need you over here. I need to hear this tone over here. Oh, okay, they're gonna come and join over here. I've got a client who's gonna go over and maybe turn off the lights in the session. Instead of, hey Joe, I need you over here, or bring that arm over here, we're gonna play some drums on the taiko drum. All right, redirecting. You can read your examples there. Differential reinforcement of other behaviors. Oh wow, this one's 2 techniques, okay? You're gonna give them a praise statement for anything you catch them doing that's good, and you're gonna ignore the bad part. I love this example. It talks about a little girl who does animal noises. Can you imagine? I've had this child several times. Comes into the session and just constantly meow, meow, meow. Can you imagine that? And you got a group going? So the best thing to do is if you ask Susie a question, let's say she doesn't answer, she gives you animal noises. But then you hear her, maybe overhear her talking to someone next to her. You give a praise statement. Susie, your input is so valuable to me. Could I hear that a little bit louder? Can I hear your words? And you're ignoring the animal noises earlier. Now, to ignore, I usually recommend only 3 minutes of ignoring. Otherwise, it's going to still sabotage your session. I had this. Someone would only talk about Jerry Springer, Jerry Springer, Jerry Springer, Jerry Springer. And as soon as I heard her talk about anything other than that, I gave her a praise statement and then ignored the Jerry Springer. And by ignoring, a music therapist can even take away instruments and keep directing the rest of the group. A music therapist can position themselves so that that person is not getting the eye contact and is giving social reinforcement for the rest of the group. So there's clever ways to be, you'll see under selective attention. And differential reinforcement of an incompatible. This means make it impossible for them to do the behavior that they are trying to do to sabotage. So if you've got a client that comes in and they're just punching and they're hitting and they're knocking over chairs, you make it impossible for them to do that. Give them a drum to carry. Say, hey, I need you to carry this drum to all our classmates. You give them an exercise in movement. Hey, we're going to do jumping jacks. All right, you have to be a little bit clever on that one. Always have a plan. I carry a bag of instruments at the Department of Corrections and at the Domestic Abuse Center. All instruments, but I also have a little fan in there because I already know I'm going to have a client that says, I don't want to play any of your instruments. I'll say, well, hey, could you just at least take out this fan because it's getting warm in here and just kind of help fan people off? It's always worked. Again, I think it throws them off, but I'm trying to make it so they cannot lead my session. All right, extinction, also called planned ignoring. I'm sorry, earlier I talked about ignoring. It's for this one, extinction. Planned ignoring. Again, it could be as taking an instrument away as ignoring. It could mean that if someone swears in a session, a lot of times I have to evaluate, is their goal, am I really working on better communication skills? Probably not. So I will just ignore that and continue on. I don't give them anything about that because some people are trying to be the class clown and they're seeking attention. So you just ignore them. Again, probably only 3 minutes. If that doesn't work, you're going to have to go back to these other approaches. Selective attention is you're going to ignore the client making the inappropriate and give social reinforcement to the rest. Lay on the praise statement. Give them rewards. Hand out their instruments, and this person doesn't get an instrument. Selective attention. Okay, and then this final column, I never want to see. You should never see anyone using this final column, but it's good to know, so you've got red flags. The first one is called response cost. This means someone is going to catch you being bad, and they're going to take something away from you. So it's the opposite of token economy. You always want to start with token economy. You want to exhaust all these other techniques before you get to response cost. I hear from parents that will say, when we catch Joe doing something wrong, we take away his video time. Well, video time is not something that should be automatically assumed in anyone's life. So instead, use that video time as a token. Start your day, say, hey, we're starting all over. I've got these 3, 5 tokens, and then when I catch you doing your chores, putting your dishes away, taking care of the animals, getting your homework done, going outside for a half hour, boom, I'm going to give you a token for a half hour video time. Response cost means if I catch you not doing stuff, I take a token away, or I take something away. It's easier to catch people being bad, I get that, but if you really want better results, put in the energy and the time to catch people being good. Time out. The thing about time out is that a person is going to no longer be a part of eye contact. They cannot get verbal praise. They cannot get any rewards while in time out. I've seen some students in the past that they had maybe a little, it can even just be like, hey, I'm going to take this instrument just for this activity. I want you to join us for the next one. I want you to calm down right over here. Timeout doesn't mean you have to leave the room, but it could be that you have to leave the room. But if you've got a person that's sitting in timeout, you never want to praise them for their sitting out. You never want to say, hey, great job sitting out for those 3 minutes. Here's a sticker. Never. There's no rewards in timeout. Instead, you ask them to join in. Hey, Joe, come on in. Here's your tone chime. Give it 3 hits. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Here's your sticker. You want to catch them doing the right behavior. And if you've got someone that struggles with doing the right behavior, you're going to have to make it quick rewards. Overcorrection is very punitive. This means you're going to want them to do above and beyond what is expected. The example is if I've got a client that comes in and pushes over the table, overcorrection means I say, hey, great, while that's flipped over, could you clean the underside of this table? Or if it's music stands, could you fix all those music stands? If someone comes in and calls everyone a nasty name, overcorrection is saying, hey, perfect, could you write a letter addressing everyone by Mr., Mrs., and whatnot? That's overcorrection. It's punitive. Assignment. Here's your assignment, is to come up with 4 songs that define who you are. I want you to write a paragraph about why that song is special. Why does that song define who you are? Maybe it's the lyrics, then maybe show me some of those lyrics. Maybe it's the beat, the tempo, the style. Maybe it reminds you of a time of your life that you really feel identifies who you want to be, who you are. So the assignment for this week is 4 songs. I just need the title, maybe a couple lyrics if you're saying this lyric really tells me who I am. Just a couple sentences of why each of these 4 songs defines who you are. How is it that that song is special to you? How does that song remind you who you are? Again, it can be lyrics, it can be the beat, the style, it can be the group of friends, it could be the memories associated with that song.